All right, so here I'm going to show you how to cite APA style in a Word document. So I have just a blank Word document page open. We're under the Home tab right now. We're going to go over to References. Click on that. And you can see right here style. It automatically says APA. However, for those of you using MLA, you can switch it. There are other options. There's also a Chicago style, which I've heard a couple of students use before for, I think, a history class they did that for. But it'll automatically default to APA. So right now, Word does have the 6th edition. It does not update to the 7th edition. So I assume that will come here in the near future. But for now, we're going to click on Insert Citation, Add New Source, and then you can choose the type of source that you're citing. So most commonly, we'll use a book, or maybe a book section, journal article. There's a website or a document from a website, other electronic sources. Film is another common one, interview. Those are the most common ones that we use. Okay, so we'll leave it on book, and we will click here for author. And so I will add Laura King. She's one that I use in Introduction to Psych often. So we're going to do Laura, just the first initial of her name. You don't need her full name, first full name. And if there were to be multiple authors, okay, that's where we would go and click edit. So let's say King also worked with Sandrock, who's another author in psychology from McGraw-Hill. So we're going to put Sandrock. We're just going to put D for first name and click add. So it doesn't matter if you're adding 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however many authors, you just keep filling out the information, and adding them. And then when you're all done adding, click OK. And it's going to format here with your semicolon and spaces. We're going to put the title of a textbook. Laura King's, one of them is The Science of Psychology. We're going to say that this is the 4th edition. And we'll say 2019, and we're going to say New York here, because that's where McGraw-Hill is published, and McGraw-Hill is our publisher. So when we click OK, this gives us our in-text citation. So when you're citing and you paraphrase or you use a direct quote, this is what you want, right? So instead of shift parenthesis, type it all out, this is going to format it for you. When you're doing a direct quote and you have to add the page number, you're going to click on this, click the drop-down menu, edit citation, type out your page number, click OK, and it's going to update it for you. Now remember, this is our in-text citation, right? So we're going to delete this for now, highlight this backspace to delete it. And now when we go back up here to insert citation, it's already here. Once you save this document on your computer, it will forever be there, right? On whatever computer or laptop that you work on at home. We're going to go to File, and we're going to go to New to open a new document. We're going to go up to References. We're going to go up to Manage Sources, and we're going to search for that one that I just made. You can see I've done a lot of examples for students over the past few semesters here. So this is the one that we just built today. We're going to highlight it and copy it over. And now it's in our new document, so we don't have to add it again. We don't have to redo anything. So this will come in handy because as you get further into whatever discipline you're studying, you will start to reuse sources. And so this is a kind of an easy way to store everything and not have to rebuild it time and time again, as you do in a website like EasyBib or Grammarly.com, something like that. Not that those aren't good sources, because they can be very useful. So we'll go back to our original document. When you're, if you're using multiple sources, you just keep adding new source, typing out the information, and it's just going to keep, popping up. So you can make this list as long as you need it to be, okay? When you're ready to, we put the placeholder in here, we're going to delete that. So if you put something in by accident, like I just did, we'll go to Manage Sources. We'll click on what we want to delete. Make sure it's highlighted in blue, click Delete, and it's gone. So we're going to close this. Same thing, if you see like a spelling error or you forgot to add a piece of information, you can always go up to Manage Sources. You can click on the source, click Edit. So let's say that we wanted to make this 2020 instead. So we're going to click OK after we change the date. And now it asks if we want to do this in our master list and current document. So most of the time you're going to want to update both. So your master list is on the left and then your current document's on the right. So let's click on yes, and it'll update it in both places. We're going to close this out. When you're doing your full reference page, we're going to click on bibliography, references. So for APA, it's always references. You won't use bibliography. You won't use Works Cited. It's just the references. I'm going to click on references, and now it formats it for us. We didn't have to do any of the work. Seventh edition is a little bit different. Generally speaking, your teachers are probably still going to want Times New Roman, 12-point font, all that. So you want to make sure that you go in and change that. But if you're using the template, which I'm going to show you in a minute, it'll already do this for you and you won't have to make any changes like what I'm doing right now. Okay. Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to center that. References is what we wanted to center here. Okay, so that's what your reference page would look like. We want to, let's say, you have 3 or 4 sources, right? So let's say you added a bunch here. Right? So it's not just one, but you have maybe 4 or 5. We're going to do that right now by some of these other ones I added. We're going to go back to Manage Sources. We're going to copy just a few of these other sources that I have in here into our current document that we're using. Close it out. So now when I go up to Insert Citation, all my previous citations are all here. And we are going to hit Update, and it's going to update our references. And so this is what your reference page would look like if you had multiple sources like this on here. So that's the references. So let me show you something else. When you go to File and you go to New, and you're going to search for online templates, we're just going to type here APA, and we're going to hit the search button. And you're going to see there's, different choices that come up. Eventually, like I said, this should update to the 7th edition. For now, we'll keep it at the 6th. We're going to create a document. So this is already formatted like an APA paper would be. And, if your teacher says you have to use a 7th edition, you'll be able to go in and just make a few tweaks and adjustments as needed to make the changes to this template. But all you do to use this template is just type over it. So I clicked on it. Let's say you're doing a paper on, let's say, PHA, right? And you're going to put your name in. So we'll put my name in here for now. And then whatever college you're associated with, okay? So we, most of you know, if you've seen my Who is Dr. Matson, I teach at a variety of places. So Purdue is one of them. So Purdue Northwest. I guess we should put university in here too. That's one of the schools I'm at. And for now we have our title page filled out on that part. Unless your teacher says you need an author note, you can usually just delete that. This is your running header. This is one of the most frustrating things in APA style, I think, is to try and get the words running head on the first page, not on the second page, right? And to make sure that your page numbers show up too. So whatever the title is of your paper, that's usually what you can put for a running header, unless your teacher tells you otherwise. So I just highlighted it, I typed over it, I'm going to hit close, and now it's going to do it for me. So it's going to say the words running head here, it's going to remove them here, it's still going to say Jean Piaget, page 2, and this tells you what an abstract is. At some point along your career path in college, you'll have to write an abstract. So an abstract is basically just a summary of your paper, right? And so you don't cite anything in an abstract. It's just your thoughts, you talking about, what your paper's about. And then you add keywords. So if we were writing a paper on Piaget, we might say stages of development. We might list his 4 stages: sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete, formal. Those could be our keywords that we put here. Okay, and then, as like I said, a summary of what your paper is going to be about. And again, you just click on it to type over, and then you just type, and that's it. And just keep adding your keywords until you have them all that you need. Operational, concrete, operational, and formal. Operational. When you go to write your abstract, just click on it, hit space, and you can delete it, and then you can just type your own thing. For now, we'll leave that in there. And then when we scroll down here, you can see our title of our paper move down, right, at the top of the paper. This is going to be your introduction paragraph, and then it gives you a sense of how to use the different headings, based on your writing. It gives you a description of what each one is. When we come down here to the reference page, there's just placeholders in here, right? So when we click on references, insert citation, they're just built as placeholders. So we can go up to manage sources. We could edit them if we wanted to put our own information in, or you can just delete them, and start over if you want. So we're just going to pull a few other ones into here again, copy some over, and we're going to close this out. We're just going to hit update, and it updates it for us. So it double spaces it like it should. It gives us the hanging indent, which can sometimes be challenging, and gives us our full reference page. You can see that our paper is already double spaced. If we go up to the home tab, it's already set to Times New Roman, 12-point font. So everything is good to go. So use what you need and delete what you don't need, right, out of this template. So when we go to preview this, let's preview this as we're printing. You can see what the title page looks like, abstract. It tells you an abstract is generally 150 to 250 words. That's pretty adequate. And then however many content pages you would have, and then your reference page. And you won't need this maybe for your graduate degree if you go on, but usually for most of your bachelor's work, you're not going to need the footnotes, you're not going to need the tables or anything like that. So we can always go back and just delete that. So you can just backspace, and that's going to delete that information. You don't need any of that. And then you could go and delete the tables and stuff too. So everything is underneath the reference tab is how you cite everything. And like I said, for those of you that are MLA users, you can just switch this over to MLA, and it's going to change the formatting for you. Switch it back to APA. So, and there's also an MLA template too. So we're going to click on this to open a new document. We're going to search MLA. Oops. Try that again. Okay. Let me X out of there. Why is it doing that? MLA. Here's our, oh, here, I already have it up here. MLA style research. We can click on create, and there's your template for an MLA paper with all your heading information here and whatnot. So either way, you have the templates for APA and MLA. Same thing here with your references at the end. So just a few things to help you in Word. Other sites that I think are helpful, Panopto is what I'm recording on here, is apaformat.org. Here you can go in and you can select book citation, PDF, journal, website, magazine, newspaper, etc. Any one of these you click on, let's click on website. It's just going to give you more detailed information of how to do it, how to cite the information, right? When you're doing an in-text citation versus a reference list, if you're using multiple authors, more than 7 authors. So it just gives you a lot of help and information as to exactly how to do these citations. This is another great website that I refer students to all the time. You can just put in your search engine APA OWL at Purdue, and this is what'll come up: general APA guidelines, and you can read all about in-text citations, references for different types of sources. So lots of reading information. If you're ever referencing off of one of your instructor's PowerPoint slides, this is how you do that. So a lot of information and resources at your service. All right. So that is all for today, and I hope this helps. As always, my students that are watching this, reach out with extra questions, and I'll be happy to help. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day or evening.